Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of And Action. I'm Tommy DiNucci. I'm here with Mike Messier. I can't believe it. We're already on our double-digit episode 10 of And Action. It's been a fun 10 weeks of this conversation. Mike, how you been, brother?
I'm good, Tommy, and you're right. 10 weeks has come and gone so quick. I mean, that's 2.5 months. We've both grown a little bit, changed a little bit. Your hair has gone back to fully black, I see. So that's kind of the old school Tommy DiNucci look. And I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing. And I think I want to thank the audience who's been so participatory and patient. Sometimes we do our show at different times during the week. Usually we do Tuesday, but sometimes that's not possible. Today we're doing a Tuesday kind of early afternoon, which is fun and spontaneous too. So I'm glad to be here, buddy.
Me too. It's good to see everybody. We've got Stephen E. checking in. It's good to see you, brother. I am going to turn the sound on my phone off. This is a really kind of interesting and impromptu bit of an episode, and it's kind of all so fitting. If like Mike said, my hair has changed. I have dark hair now. I am in two movies at once. I can talk a little bit about one. I can't really say much about the other. But the bottom line is I'm juggling a lot right now between this film, the post production on Johnny and Clyde, a writing assignment that I have on a movie called Knockout Blonde. There's just so many bullets flying right now, and so many tops spinning on plates moving around, and it's crazy. So this week we're really going to just dive into time management. So if I look like I just rolled out of bed, I kind of did. I was on an ADR session until 1 in the morning. We're going to talk all about that after being on set for 12 hours working in a film. So it's been wild. We don't complain about this. These aren't bad things. These are what we call quality problems. But this week, we're going to talk all about time management and how, if you really want to be successful in this business, you got to take some really big bites at the apple. And like, you can't just expect one particular project to pan out. You got to have multiple irons in the fire. And it's not always easy to navigate and manage that time. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we do, meaning Mike and myself, to keep ourselves on track. And I have to just be candid with you. Like, I might get a couple phone calls during this uh, podcast where I might have to jump and let Mike take the reins for a little while, because that's just how crazy things are right now. And, if a producer calls you, you kind of got to pick up the phone at any time. It's almost like being in the mafia. And then
Sure.
when the Don calls, and we just have so much going on. It looks like Kim has just checked in. Kim, what's up? It's good to see you again. Kim was a part of my first ever webinar. It was really nice to see you there, Kim. We appreciate that. We had a lot of fun that night.
Great.
And thank you, Stephen. Stephen just booked a short film himself.
Great.
Congratulations,
Congratulations, buddy.
brother.
Good job.
And
Good job,
he's
Steve.
going on a tape audition for 2 features. All
Awesome.
right. Let's send some of those positive movie vibes out to Stephen. I'm sure you did the prep work and you're ready to rock and roll, and you walk into that room with your head held high and you hit a home run. Um, yeah, I think we do all struggle with time management. It's one of those things where it's such an unrenewable resource, this time that we have, and we all have 24 hours of it. And what do we do with it? You have to sleep a little bit, right? Or you die.
Right.
So, you got to find that balance. And Mike and I are going to get into some of the strategies that we implement. And who knows, maybe they'll work for you. Mike, I said a little bit about what I've got going on. Take a minute or two to tell us what you've been going on. And I know you've been juggling a lot of different creative balls yourself.
Well, I went to the Vero Beach Film Festival. I guess it's going on 2 weeks ago now, but it was really a great experience. It might have been the best film festival I've ever been to. As far as the community of Vero Beach was very welcoming to the filmmakers. A lot of times, Tommy, you know this, even the best film festivals often don't get big crowds, or if the crowd does show up, it's often other filmmakers or actors that were in the production. This Vero Beach Film Festival actually had a lot of audience members that had nothing to do with the films, like just genuine film fans. I remember the first night I was there, a couple of young guys saw my 1 minute movie and they were talking to me, and I assumed that they were other filmmakers because they had these lanyards on. No, one guy was a welder and one guy was a limousine driver, and they were just guys that bought week passes for the festival out of love of cinema. So that was really cool. Just that there was a lot of people there. Most of the crowds were capacity or close to it, and I was really impressed. So that was a few weeks ago. In the meantime, creatively, mostly I'm working on my books. I actually have a uh, short film directing slash acting book that's now available on Amazon, and The Fighter Play Basketball. And one thing with these books, Tommy, is you write them and then you see, once they get published, you see like, oh my God, I forgot this comma, or this semicolon should be a
Oh
colon.
God, that's the worst.
And unfortunately, with these Amazon is a great platform. Don't get me wrong, but it is time consuming, because if you see the mistake in the final product, you can't just fix it there. You have to go back like 2 programs, fix it there, and then resave, re-upload, and repeat, repeat, repeat. So I'm trying to keep myself sane doing that. And I have cast a short film. It's going to be a follow up to Seduction of Distance, which I acted in last summer myself. I did go through the process of using breakdown services like Breakdown Express, and that that is what works with Actors Access for the actors that are at Actors Access, which I've been using for a year or so. I actually went on the other side of the table and used that platform to get audition tapes. It was a free service, Tommy, and I got like 45 women auditioning for this role, and I chose one. And it was a tough decision, but I'm pretty confident with the person I went with, and been communicating with her and arranging our shoot for
That's great.
August.
That's
Yeah,
great,
thanks.
Mike. Very good. Sounds like you're a very busy man. Stephen E wants to know what the name of the short film directing book that you're putting together.
It's art and war of directing and participating in short films, television, and web series, Stephen E. If you go to my website, mikemessier.com, and scroll to the bottom, the link is right at the bottom. And I think as an actor and someone I know very creative, Stephen E., I think you get a lot out of it. So I hope you decide to take a look at it.
Yeah, it's been there's been lots going on. Summertime is here. Today is the official first of the summer. We've got our hottest months of the year coming up. Mike, I know you're in Florida. You must be just like in the thick of that heat right now.
Well, bro, I appreciated you doing the show early today, because as the day goes further, my basically room in a condo is going to get hotter and hotter. And I felt like, man, we got to do this. The sooner we do it, the better for me, because the room gets really hot like midday. And then I typically go out all day and all night and come home at 10 o'clock or later just to wait till the sun goes down. It is hot, but I kind of do like it, because the long winters were tough for me up there, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's funny how not to go into a weather detour, but for me as a writer, I actually love those winters. We're very different creatures in that sense.
Yeah,
Like, I love the sense of isolation and the sense of like even socially, I love how the winters affect me in the sense that like I'm not exactly, believe it or not, the biggest social butterfly, and like I kind of like hanging out at my house. And don't get me wrong, like you've been my pal for a while. Like
sure.
I'm not a weirdo. Like I'll have people over the house and hang out. I'm just not a big like go out and party kind of guy. Um, I do my fair share of partying. Let's not be crazy, but I'd like to
Sure.
do it in my home. I'm a
Yeah.
private person in that sense. So I like the winters because they provide that level of like, oh, sorry, can't go anywhere. There's 2 feet of snow outside. I'll see
Yeah.
you in a few days.
Yeah.
But in Florida, you guys can go to the beach every single day and jump in the pool and have
Yeah.
all your own benefits. But back to time management, one of the things that I do, because like I said, guys, I'm just going to straight shoot for a minute. We don't really have much of a note setup today. Today was really very much call it in the ring, as they say, impromptu, because I've just been going nuts lately. And I don't mean to sound just me. I'm sure Mike's been busy too, but like, I just frankly haven't had the time to like sit down and put together the notes. So then, as Mike and I were just on the phone, like, oh man, we said we were going to do a pool last week. We didn't even end up doing one. Things just got crazy. And when you're trying to put out it consistently, put out a show every week on a Tuesday, man, does that Tuesday roll by quickly.
Yeah.
You're
It
like, oh
does.
shit, it's already Monday night. Like, what are we going to do tomorrow? So we decided to let's talk a little bit about time management and some of the things that we do to get things done. So for me, I know that listing is everything. For me, it's like there's an old phrase: "Don't think it, ink it." Like if you have an idea, it's so easy for it to kind of fade out of your head, and in a matter of 15, 20 minutes, something you were so passionate and driven about and when you had the idea, this is gone, whereas if you just write it down and have that in front of you, it becomes a little more real. So what I do, and like, look, this is nothing new. I'm sure I'm not inventing anything. I'm just sharing with you what I do that works for me. Uh, every morning when I'm working, when I'm in my work zone, I'll make a list of things that I got to do, and that's pretty much everything from I'll even put like if I'm working out, I'll put that on there. I'll put something as simple as like call Mike, you know what I mean? Like basically it's one of those things where any little thing that I want to accomplish goes on this list. And then as the day goes by, I just like to cross it off, and there's a really like satisfying feeling of like, this is. I'll even go deep with it. Like I like to use two different colored pens. Like I used to like to use like a standard black pen for writing down what I got to do, and then I have like this nice red marker that I can kind of just like literally like cross things off,
Right.
and it's very satisfying. It's funny. It's one of those things where like it almost makes you want to do more things because let's say you start 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning. If you look at your
Sure.
list and halfway through the day, you're like, wow, I already got 75% of my list crossed off. You feel productive, and it's a nice feeling, and it's enriching, and you don't feel like you're scatterbrained. Because I feel like, and I'm not trying to generalize, but I feel like as artists, most of us are a little scatterbrained. And I speak,
Yeah.
that's me. I'm raising my hand on that one, meaning like it's very easy with all of these ideas bouncing around my brain. It's very easy for those notions to become disorganized, to become filed away in the wrong drawer, so to speak, and
Right.
just, oh, where did I put that idea? Oh, I don't know. So just really write stuff down, stay on target, and it's okay too. Like, here's the other thing. If by the end of the day you look at your list and you weren't able to cross everything off that you put on, that's okay. That just means you had an ambitious day. What I do then is I circle whatever I missed, and I make sure that that goes on to the next day and onto that next page. Hopefully you get time to do it. Uh, and again, it's not the end of the world if you don't get to it. Just make sure you don't forget about what you missed. So that's just like one of the little things that I do for time management.
Let me jump
Um,
in on that, Tommy,
sure,
because
go ahead.
what you just described, I like your system quite a bit. I might try to implement that myself because you are doing a very your own style. I'm sure you didn't read this book, but the bullet journal is something that I bought. It's a book about how to do journaling and how to like make bullet points. I found it to be. I guess I didn't give it the full shot, to be honest with you. I wasn't good about applying myself to it. And the guy does say, the writer says, you got to give this thing 30 days of legitimate trying so it sinks in, right? And I didn't do
Sure.
that. So that's on me. But just, it seemed to be a little bit complicated for me. Your style, I did like it. I like yours a little bit better. Like, for instance, I started to do the bullet journal. You can see but I wrote out. I think that was from a year ago. That's like from 2021, and I didn't write down anything. So there was all these things that I was supposed to do, and it's kind of like there as this. I mean, I guess I did a couple of months, but the point is, I didn't really follow through with it. So fault on me. But I think your style, Tommy, is pretty good. One thing I do, buddy, that I guess I can show this real quick. I have an old-fashioned print calendar, right?
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah. So what this was, bro, I actually got this for free, believe it or not. It's the planner. I think it's called like the Power Planner or something like that. And this lady, I bought a few hard copies of it over the years, but eventually I just started downloading the free PDF because I like putting it into my own spiral notebook. And the reason is it's got I got the pockets and everything. So
Sure.
I drag this giant thing around with me, buddy, so that if we're doing a show or if I'm doing anything, I typically try to write it in this thing. And that way, if I'm ever accused of a crime I didn't do, I can tell them where I was that day, too.
There you go. It's always good to have that. I also I used to be a big fan of another system you can use is depending upon your job too, like Mike, you're on the go, so this probably wouldn't work for you as well. Maybe it would at home, but I used to really use one of those calendar desk blotters a lot.
Yeah,
Just the big fat calendar that just sits right on your desk, it lays right
right.
down. And then I would just kind of do my work on top of that, obviously, as I'm doing my thing. And it's nice when you literally just see it in front of you all day long, like what I have to do, what's going on down the road. I will say this too, and I'm not knocking the system, and I don't even know the system in that book, but I noticed that there were like months of projections and things that you
Yeah,
want to do in months down the road. I'm all for setting goals, and I'm all for creating a system that has you building towards a final finish line of some kind, whatever the fuck it may be, right?
right.
Whether you want to, paint your cabinets in your kitchen or whether you want to write a new screenplay. Like we all have things we want to do down the fucking road. But be careful about planning too far down the road because sometimes you have to climb the hills in front of you, if that makes any sense. And you have to just like, sometimes I think we can overwhelm ourselves with thinking ahead and being like, I'm going to do this in January and then I'm going to do this in February. And by March, this is going to happen. Because guess what? Most plans disintegrate upon first contact with enemy fire.
Yeah,
You
it's
know what I
true.
mean? Like, and,
Yeah,
and what I mean by that is, again, I'm not trying to sound cocky and fresh and silly, like, oh, don't even fucking plan anything because it's all going to go to shit. That's not what I mean. I just mean,
right.
like, try to just plan the things right in front of you because although it's great to have goals, sometimes, and trust me, man, I've been hurt by this before. Sometimes if you plan something out down the road that you really think is going to come to fruition and you could work as hard as you wanted to at it, you could have made all the right moves along the way, but it might just not happen. You know, that's where like planning down too far in advance can like just kind of get you off axis a little bit. Where sometimes, yes, we need long term goals and it's very important, but I try to focus more on just like the week, not necessarily just that day, but like focus on your week. I think it's really important to take life. Yes, we've heard day by day. That's true. You want to go day by day. But ultimately, for me, I think of it like week by week. I look at what every week is. And that's something too. I'm going to go next level and share another little Tom DiNucci organizational method. And when I say this, guys, I'm not a really organized person. These are just like the bare minimum things that I have to do to literally function as a human being and have any kind of success. Um, but on a Sunday night, often, Sunday afternoon, Sunday night, I won't spend too much time with it because, it's Sunday and I try to really not do any work on Sundays unless I'm in production on something,
Sure.
traveling, whatever. I really do try to make Sunday be the one day where, like, don't call my phone about anything, don't message me about anything work wise. Like, everybody needs their one day to breathe, and that's usually my day. Um, but on a Sunday night, I like to take out that notebook that I was talking about, and I'll just go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I'll put it all on one page. And I'll just write like a couple things that I really want to do on each day, kind of, and like, where do I want to be by this day? Where do I want to be here? And then, as the week starts, I'll go into my day by day breakdown. But on a Sunday night, kind of like stretching out your week and looking at it quick and just getting a little bird's eye view of what you've got going on, what you could accomplish, what you want to avoid, even. Be careful for this. Don't get sucked into that. Those are nice things to look at and reflect upon on a Sunday night.
I think that's great, Tommy. And just to jump in again, I think that's great. And you're right. Sometimes the passion planner is what it's called, just to give the lady credit. And bro, I've been through the ringer with planners. I bought 24-hour planners, like planners that have, because I get frustrated. A lot of planners end at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, and I'm doing stuff at 10 or 11 that I want to put down there. So at a point, I had a 24-hour planner, I think in 2013 or 14, and I'm a big guy as far as that goes. I do like your black ink, red ink method. I'm going to give that a shot. Uh, and I will say this, buddy. A nice little metaphor, maybe to give everybody a little bit of hope on this topic. A friend of mine years ago was telling me that she had like all these big papers to write. Like she was applying for grants, like artistic grants, and she had to sit down and write these giant applications and so forth. But she found herself delaying that process and getting caught up with vacuuming her apartment. And so she felt at the end of the day, she felt very disappointed with herself and frustrated with herself because she didn't do what she thought she'd do that morning, which is these applications. And I said to her, hey, you needed to vacuum that apartment at some point anyway. Like that apartment vacuuming 6 hours, let's say, that had to happen at some point. And if your
Yeah.
mind wasn't up for writing papers and writing applications, because it's a different type of energy, Tommy. And I said, why crucify yourself? You got something off the checklist, and I don't even think she had a written checklist, but you did something today productive towards your overall life. And I find that with me, Tommy, a lot of times I have different energy levels, mental energy levels. If I have a creative day where I feel like I can write creatively, I'll do that. But some days I don't have it in me, but I can be on the computer and I can do, an online job on a computer, like something that's, not to say dumb work, but just not needing that same energies, the same synapses. And late at
Yeah, it's
night, there's times late at night that I'm doing stuff on the computer that I do it late at night because I can watch the TV in the background and kind of kill two birds with one stone, man. And I don't have to put my full mental energy. Like when I have those prime hours of mental energy, I try to save those for actual writing of new material and stuff like that.
yeah, I think it's important to understand your limitations as a person and understand kind of what you think you're actually capable of. Because when it comes to creative work, it's not like uh, you know, uh, planting flowers or planting trees or doing yard work where you can kind of just like half-ass some of it and get through it. Like you're not just digging a hole to plant a big tree or whatever. Like, no, you got to kind of like be sharp. So if you don't think you're able to provide that level of sharpness, I agree. I think you need to shift gears and find another way to be productive. But always keep moving. You know what I mean? It's important to keep moving, to play to your point with your friend there who's cleaning the house. Let's talk about that for a minute. I think that that's sometimes something that gets lost in the shuffle. I know that when I'm really overwhelmed and busy, the things that start to really go in my life, laundry starts to pile up. I start running out of towels. Like, oh man, like, oh, I got to do some laundry. Whatever. I got a lot of times friendships will suffer.
Right.
People that I know that I should be calling back or know that I should be texting back. I'm not quite able to do it because I'm in my head about all these other projects that I have going on. So I do think it's important, other little things. Sometimes you forget to go to the grocery store because you're so
Yeah.
busy. You forget to like pick up the little things that you need, like, oh man, I don't have any more cat food. I ran out of milk. You know what I mean? Whatever it may
Yeah.
be. Excuse me. I think it's important to, in that planner that you're planning out that you're making, think of those things almost as part of your business in a weird
Right.
way. Like remember, we're actors, we're writers, we're directors. We've talked about this before, and I'm sure we'll eventually have a deeper dive episode, but like part of being an actor, writer, director, filmmaker, artist, really of all kinds, is understanding that you yourself, the actor, the writer, the director, you're a company and you yourself are the CEO, you're the head engineer, you're the maintenance person, you're the marketing person. You're all those things wrapped into one motherfucker.
Yeah.
So the idea is, as that CEO of that company, that brand, Mike Messier or Tom DiNucci or Stephen E. or whoever else is listening, you're that CEO. It's important to look at yourself like a company and realize that things like laundry and getting your groceries done and calling people back that are going to fill your soul up with some happiness, those are all part of maintenance for the company too. And although, yeah, it's not pushing towards your goal of being a famous actor, writer, director, if you don't do those little things, your mind can kind of stumble a little bit and you're not comforted. And also, I find that sometimes creatively, um, the greatest things can happen when you're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? And what I mean
Sure.
by that is just like, and maybe it's something not even creative. Maybe you're waiting for that phone call that you've been dying to get and it just doesn't seem to come in, or you're waiting to hear from your producer or your casting agent or whatever it is. Sometimes taking a break to do like laundry and fold clothes and just put your shit away and clean up a little bit for an hour or two in the middle of your day, although it seems like, what the fuck are you doing that in the middle of the day for?
Right.
That could be enough time to like let some other shit happen in the universe that might eventually come back at you. Like you said earlier, Mike, you had to get that stuff done anyway.
Right.
So I think that it's important to like keep that balance and understand that like taking a break for an hour to tidy up around your house and do some laundry in the middle of the day, although it could seem like, yeah, you could do that at night, you could do that on a Saturday morning. It's like, no, it's okay to do that like in the middle of the day and on a Tuesday, like as long as you're not blowing any deadlines. Like those are the kind of things when like you can almost detach your brain a little bit, and then you might finish folding the laundry and say, oh shit, I just got the best fucking idea. And then you're a little more invigorated and you hop back in your office and you go do some more work, whether you're a writer, director, whatever it may be. Um, so it's almost like don't be afraid to have what I'll call productive distractions. A distraction that, yeah, maybe it's not making movies, but it's something you had to do anyway, and great things can happen while that's all going on.
Well said. And there's a expression that you may or may not have heard. That's I believe it's called a watched pot will not boil. So if you're
That's
always
right.
kind of looking at that pot of water and you're just waiting for it to boil, you'll be standing there forever. But you made some great points there, Tommy. And I think it is important because if you watch enough of the Tony Robbins or even my buddy, the Ultimate Warrior videos, if you watch these motivational videos that I enjoy, sometimes they can rev you up a little bit too much, and everybody just has to do what's best for them. I'm not encouraging lethargy by any means, but just sometimes we can all get worked up by the self improvement world, the take walk on coals and spike the football at the stadium and all that great stuff. But sometimes you have to balance that with your own reality, whatever that might be, and so on and so forth. Some good points here, Tommy.
Thanks. Let's check in here, Stephen E.
I think he was talking about the passion
Talking about
planner.
the passion planner. I always say nothing is written in stone. Prepare to change course and veer to the right or left. So true, Stephen. Because really, I mean, not to sound crazy, but like we really just never know what tomorrow's going to bring. Like it's one of the simple things that we always hear. But sometimes, and I've been guilty of this before. Like I've put my heart into a project and thought that it was going to pan out, and it didn't. And
Right.
I was heartbroken for a period of time, and it made it hard for me to get back on the horse. And I did eventually. We all kind of, you know, pain eventually does subside, when you're disappointed about something. But it's important to know that be willing to go with the flow. And that's kind of like how I've been looking to approach this summer as we enter summer of 2022. I'm gonna just try to be like Tom Cruise in a late '80s film, where his character is, beaten up a little bit. He does something self-destructive, and then spends the rest of the film kind of just walking into the great unknown and feeling better about himself. I call this the summer of Tom Cruise 1988
Well,
for
man,
me.
you got to
That's
see
my
that
mantra.
sequel. You got to see that sequel, buddy. Top Gun 2. There's a great line in there that I think it's Ed Harris, of course, is giving Tom Cruise's
Awesome.
Maverick a tough time, and he says, "You're the last of a dying breed, Maverick." And then Cruise looks to him with that smile and says, "Yeah, but not today." And then he walks out of the room.
That's
So
awesome.
Stephen E's had some good comments. I think Donna, a former acting student of mine who also wrote a book, Donna above said hello. Kim Kaling said hello. She's been very busy.
And we
Um,
have some positive news here. Another
sure.
audition just popped up on Steven's phone from his
Oh,
agent.
awesome.
Bring
Congratulations,
him
buddy.
on. Congrats,
Good
brother.
job, buddy. Good job. That's what
And hey, it's that tells you it's summer's heating up, man. I mean, this is when there's a lot of productions going on during the summer, all over, really all over the country. But particularly if you're, Stephen E is a Northeast guy. I'm a Northeast guy. This is the time of year for productions to be booming where we're from because of the weather. Obviously, we know that it's going to be nice this time of year, so we're excited about that. And it's just it really is going to be a crazy couple weeks. I'm going to talk about something now that I think is probably important, and it's kind of funny because you'll think that again, like it goes against time management. But I'm just going to come out and say it. Like I've been working pretty much 15 years straight, and I've never really given myself any kind of a extended serious vacation where I don't do anything for a long stretch of time. And I think that, as funny as it sounds, part of time management is knowing when to take time off and knowing that you should book that into your sort of
Agenda.
uh, planning agenda. Yeah, like don't be afraid to book time off as part of your planning.
Right.
Uh, so the month of July is coming up. I'm currently kind of going through it. I'm kind of getting pulled through the ringer, working on a couple different productions at once, doing a lot of different posts, and I can feel that I need a little bit of a break. Like I can feel that kind of coming on where it's like, man, I would be much better off like if I just took a few days to kind of, mentally reset. So my plan is to, we're going to keep this show going in July because I don't think of this show as work. I think of it like a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But the month of July and most of August for me, I'm going to really try to just kind of take it fucking easy for the first time in my life and really uh, do a little staycation, kind of just get some things done around my house. The kind of things that
Right.
you always say that you want to do and you just never have time to do it. You know, bullshit like clean your basement, clean out your garage, all that nonsense. So that's what July is for me. I'm also going to try and take a little vacation, maybe get out of the country for a few
Oh,
days
nice.
and just kind of unfucking wind. And I think we all need to plan that out too. Again, part of time management. We're only on this planet for like ultimately like a really short period of time in the grand scheme of things. So I think that once in a while you need to treat yourself to a little bit of enjoyment and do something that makes you happy, create some memories that when times are shitty and when things are kind of wearing you out, you can say, yeah, things are shitty right now, but hey, that was fun when we went and did this. And you know what? I'm going to do that again sometime and kind of pick you up a little bit. So that's kind of like, as funny as it sounds, like that's one of the most difficult things that I'm about to encounter. Just like for the
Right.
first time in my adult life, like really trying to take a significant amount of time off. Um, we work inside of our minds, so it's hard to take a vacation from your brain, and it'll be hard for me to not want to check emails and contact people and get things going. But I'm really going to try to stay dedicated to that. And you know what, man, I know me better than I know anybody. And I bet you even during my 4 to 8 week sabbatical away from movies and work and whatnot, I know inevitably I'm going to be thinking about writing. I'm going to be thinking about what I want to do in the fall. I'm going to be thinking about my next 7 or 8 moves. But it's nice to at least like say it out loud, as they say. Like
In
I'm taking
theory.
this time off, and then
Yeah.
at least I can remind myself that hey, don't be. This was part of our plan. Like I said, again, this show's all
Right.
about time management. If you tell yourself like, no, this was, as they say, built into the schedule. So that's kind of where I'm at. Looking forward to this summer. Looking forward to finishing off a couple of movies. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? I'm doing a little back and forth right now. I'm doing a little traveling. I can't say much about one of these other movies that I'm working on, but I'm basically traveling a couple hours from one movie to the other. One of the movies works from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Right.
The other movie works from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So
Simultaneous, going on the same days to clarify.
these movies are literally happening at the same time on
Right.
different sides of the old clock, like
Yes.
complete opposite schedules. So, for example, like on Saturday, I had to work from 7 to 7 p.m. to a.m. and then basically get in the car and drive the couple hours that I had to drive and work from actually 6:30 a.m. was my call time on Monday to you know 7 o'clock. And then this was the whammy. You ready for the fucking whammy, brother? And you know
Yeah.
this, but the folks watching End Action don't. When I was done with my 12-hour day, I had to do a 5.5 hour ADR session with my lead, Avin Jogia, the Johnny of Johnny and Clyde.
Right.
And I got to be honest with you. I have a very foggy recollection of like the last 10 to 15 minutes of that session. Like
Yeah.
I think I was awake and I remember like chiming in with notes and stuff towards the end. But I also remember the guys on the other line being like, "All right, good, yeah, good session, everyone. All right, get some sleep, Tom." So I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I did
Yeah.
just pass out on the like maybe they looked over on the Zoom at one point and I was just like out. It very well could have happened.
You were on fumes, man. And I give you credit for taking on all that work. And obviously, don't try this at home, kids. Make sure you're driving safely. I get a little concerned when you hear those stories, buddy, because I know that those late night drives from some of those places, I've had those too, and they're tough.
Yeah, let's
When you,
talk about that.
especially,
Let's talk about late night drives and how the fuck do you stay awake when you're doing it?
well, I can give you a couple of thoughts, buddy. Back in the late '90s, my go-to tape of choice was Prodigy, the band Prodigy, that had the "Slap My B Up," I guess we'll call it,
Oh yeah,
song.
I know that song.
Uh,
I know that one.
yeah, Die, White Boy, Die. Yeah, that song, Prodigy, was a great. I'd crank up Prodigy. And then I think around that time, I got into the probably not so healthy habit of buying these Starbucks Frappuccino glass jar drinks. You can
Right,
get it. And most gas stations, you don't have to go to the actual
right.
Starbucks, but they have them in gas stations. And I've discovered later that there's tons of sugar in there. But I don't think there's anything wrong with I don't drink coffee every day, although I go to coffee houses almost every day. But I find that like a coffee, for a little bit of a caffeine, that type of thing can help with the late night drive. Loud music. Sometimes if you have any friends that are still awake, either like if you're on the East Coast and your friends are on the West Coast, if you have speakerphone while you're driving, not to put the phone up to your ear, but if you can do speakerphone and
Yeah, I
have
was just gonna say, Mike,
conversations.
for me, that's the big one. Like I like, I had a little drive the other night and a good way for me to pass like probably, out of my 2 hour drive, I was able to bang out a good hour of it probably on the phone. And if you can bang out half of your drive bullshitting with people and catching up and hey,
Right.
maybe that's a good time to check in with the old folks, call your parents up, call your sister up, call your
Sure.
brother up, call people that check in with your people, check in with the people that you probably should more often. And you always say to yourself, man, I just don't have time to call that person. Well, today's about time management.
Right.
So when you're in the car and you're on a long drive, rather than just, listening to a podcast and zoning out for a couple hours, and hey, there's nothing wrong with that because for the other hour, I was kind of zoning out in my own little world too. But there's
Sure.
nothing wrong with using it's almost like a productive time if you can use your car ride to do anything from call a friend or family member and check up with them or do some business, man. I mean, I've done a lot of business on the phone when I was traveling, and there's nothing wrong with that either. Sometimes it can be frustrating because you never know what kind of service area you're going to run into and
Right.
you can have spotty service and all that bullshit, but you got to just roll with those punches in life. Remember, this summer is all about Tom Cruise summer of '88 walking into the great unknown with happy disposition. It's all
Yeah. But
positive.
not today.
Yeah, we're not dying today. So yeah, the drives that's definitely a good way to do it, staying
I'm a
awake.
audiobook guy too, especially when I have a higher energy. I've been listening to this Billy Crystal audiobook from 2013 just for the sheer enjoyment because Billy Crystal is reading his own book and there's some Hollywood lessons to learn in that. He talks about, being friends with Muhammad Ali and Howard Cosell and the go and the flow of Billy Crystal's career is pretty interesting. So I did the whole Audible membership. Um, here's another thought for you, Tommy. Sometimes we talk about time management. A lot of times it's what you don't do or what you don't participate in, which allows you time for doing the stuff you want to do. And I'll give a example that I can relate to, and maybe other people can as well. Just the last couple of weeks or couple of months, this whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, it was really good television, to be honest with you. Like I watched a fair portion of it, not as much as other folks, but I watched a pretty good amount of it. And I watched a lot of the Kyle Rittenhouse case, court case a few months ago before that. And to be honest with you, it's very entertaining, and the topics are very vital to society. However, are they helping me write a screenplay? Am I writing a screenplay about domestic abuse or about celebrity pop culture? Am I writing a screenplay or a book about guns? I'm not. I'm writing a vampire story. So, I mean, I have all these other videos, Hammer horror films, and everything else that I've collected for 2 or 3 years that are on the topics of vampires and vampire culture. But I need to discipline myself to watch that stuff, even though, to be honest with you, Tommy, that stuff's more enjoyable to watch than the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard stuff. But it's like almost a self-defeating lethargy or laziness. Like you're rebelling against yourself. Like I know this is the stuff that's going to help me if I expose myself to this vampire film, from the '70s. But it's pop culture. I don't want to miss out. Fear of missing out. FOMU,
FOMA.
fear of missing out. FOMA. I don't want to miss out on the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, Kyle Rittenhouse, whatever conversation is going on. I can't miss out on that when I get on Twitter or Facebook. So I'm going to delay and have all my hot takes on all these hot topics. It's a waste
Yeah,
of
and I
time.
think that, you know what, Mike, that's something that you really, if you implement my method, uh, right at the top of the list, watch 2 hours of this vampire movie. Like that's on your list. And it's like I have to do it. It's on the fucking list.
Right.
Um, you know what I
Once I
mean?
do it, I'll enjoy it too. So that's the thing.
And
It's
yeah,
not
it's FOMO. I don't know why none of it. We're
fear
illiterate.
of missing.
We must be fucking illiterate over here.
Oh, you.
I'm like
Yeah.
FOMA.
I'm like
We're
FOMU.
Stephen. Bear with us. We're
Help
illiterate
us, buddy.
bastards.
Stephen did buy my book. I appreciate that, Stephen, and
All right, sweet.
appreciate it. Thank you. So you're the one, Stephen, who bought my book, but I
Yeah, and
appreciate
now
that,
isn't now
buddy.
Mike? Isn't he supposed to get like a T-shirt and a fruit basket
Oh
for being
God,
the
Jesus.
first sales? Anyway, we love to see that. We love the community that we're building here on And Action. A couple other little things. Again, we're gonna keep going a little bit here, but it's a crazy fucking week, so bear with us. I'm trying my best to think about all these little notions that I want to share. But one of the things that I can share with you, and I'm not always the best at this, but I try, I really try. Responding to people quickly in a timely fashion can
Yes.
be very, very positive for your time management. A lot of people in this day and age are kind of lazy about response time. And that goes for everything from emails to texts to calls, which
Right.
unfortunately, phone calls are becoming more and more rare
I say
in business and in communication. Personally, me, and I tell people this, like when I'm directing a movie, uh, I've had little, I don't want to say meltdowns. That's probably being a little dramatic, but I've had situations where I call production and I'm getting 1,000 text messages a day, and it's one of these things where sometimes if I'm on this chain of text messages that lasts for hours and hours, it's like, and I'm like, guys, if we just got on the phone, I could have banged out this whole conversation in 5 minutes rather than being tethered and enthralled to this text chain all fucking day. And listen, I understand sometimes like texting's certainly a benefit and it's inevitable. It's the way to go. It's the best way to do it. But other times, like one 5 minute call can eliminate an entire fucking day worth of these little benign bullshit back and forth texts to eventually get to the point. So that's just me. Like, but yeah, I went on a little tangent there. But the big point is response time. We've all done it before. We've gotten a text from someone or an email from someone, and we said we're busy with something, and we say, "Oh, I'll get back to that later." And then nighttime comes, you eat some dinner, and then you put your show on that you want to see, and you get sleepy, and the next thing you
sure.
know it, fuck, I never called back so and so. Fuck, I forgot to text them back or whatever. I didn't and reread my email. I had a situation like that this week, I feel like a bonehead, and luckily she's really cool, but and it's not a big deal. But like my agent emailed me, and we were supposed to have a call last week, and I was so busy, my email got lost in the sauce, and I just didn't see it. And she
Right.
was literally like, "Hey, we're available. We'll put you on the books this week. Let's have a conversation. Looking forward to it." I just missed the fucking email. Like I didn't see it. I lost it in the shuffle. Sometimes when you're responding to a million things, an email will get lost in between, get almost sandwiched between like a couple other emails, and you just didn't see it. So it's like you got to be good about that stuff. You got to stay on it, because if you don't respond, it's really, to me, it's, even if you didn't mean to do it, it's a slight form of disrespect, and it's
I
a
agree.
little bit of, like, hey, you didn't really fucking mean that much to me that day. And I get it, we all go through some shit, but if you just try to get in the habit of responding like right away in business, hey guys, I'm not talking about your social life, okay? Let's make that fucking crystal clear right now. If your buddies text you and you're working on something and you don't want the distraction and you don't want to open up a hornet's nest of texting that's going to last all day long, take a pause, flip them onto silent. I've done that many times. Mike, you're one of my best friends in the world, but I've done that to our text chain with David
Sure.
many times. Sometimes you gotta, if your buddies are texting too much and you're trying to focus, flip it on to what do they call it? Do not
Do not
disturb mode,
disturb. Silent
and then you
mode.
just won't. Yeah, and it's okay. Like, listen, if your friends are really your friends, they'll understand that. Oh, he was busy this week. He got back to me a few days later. Whatever, they'll get that. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm
I hear
talking
you.
about business calls.
Business
Like,
emails, business
the
calls.
casting agent hits you up, or the actor that you've been in contact with about the film, or
Right.
the department head for makeup called you and you didn't get back to her. Remember, people are very fucking sensitive creatures. We really are. I mean, like,
Especially in the
God,
entertainment world.
God damn, we would never make it out in the wilderness anymore. And if you were to take all of us and put us outside, the bears would eat us, and we'd just all go. But in this entertainment world, like you said, Mike, like, people are very sensitive, and if you don't get back to someone, they might think that you're disrespecting them. And something as simple as, like, a missed call or two could lead to something, or could manifest in a way that it doesn't need to manifest in someone's mind. So just be good about that, because the other reason why that plays into time management is, and I've had this happen to me, I've been lazy about some shit, or I'm doing something that I want to do for fun or whatever, and I miss a call, and I say to myself, oh, that's just so and so, or maybe it's an old producing partner, maybe it's a writer that
Right.
we've worked with in the past. You say, it's just so and so, I can call them back tomorrow, or I'll call them back tomorrow. And then guess what happens?
Tomorrow never
Tomorrow comes,
comes.
and tomorrow comes and you're so fucking busy
Right. Because you get a
that
whole new day's worth of
it's
stuff.
a whole new day worth of shit. And now it's like, oh man, on top of all this shit, I got to find time to call, so and so back.
Right.
Uh, and it's just like, it comes down to just like a lot of successful people that I've come in contact with have told me, as painstaking as it seems, one of their biggest keys to success is just getting things done as they come across their desk, so to speak. Not
Right.
ultimately not putting things off. Just like, issue, problem, something to solve comes your way, do it right then. Stop it right then.
Well,
Write the email then, make the phone
right.
call then. Don't wait.
Tom, you may not remember, but you told me a couple of years ago that a big inspiration in your policy there was your buddy Chad Verdi, Sr. And you said that to his credit, anytime he got an email or a phone call about one of the film projects you guys were working on, he would immediately either respond himself or assign that duty to someone on the team. Hey, such and such just wrote us an email about this project. And he didn't really decipher, well, this is a priority, this is a non-priority. It was all a priority. I remember you telling me about that. You thought that that was very commendable and helped uh, Woodhaven and also Verdi Films to facilitate a lot of big things.
Yeah, there's no question about it. That's something that I've always admired about Chad. It could be 1 in the morning, and if he gets an email, he's going to respond usually, and it won't be a long, crazy response. And that's the thing that you can learn from Chad's system. It doesn't have to be a long, crazy response. You could respond, okay, sounds good. And you're just acknowledging to the person that, as a business person, you're there and you're uh, accountable and ready to interact at any moment. So Chad has always kind of, that's something that I certainly learned from him in the sense that just get back to people, and the phone thing too. That's another thing that I learned from Chad, and he certainly is a guy who would prefer to jump on a phone call than have a bunch of long ass text messages going back and forth. Because let's face it, guys, too, and we've all been there. And how many times have you misconstrued someone's words on a text message, or tried
Sure.
to perceive their mood, or tried to wonder, oh, is this person pissed about this, or oh man, they only sent a one-word response. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're mad. Like,
Is this LOL sarcastic LOL, or is it legitimate LOL? Or here's another one, Tommy. Modern day confusing scenes. Is that a word? Nah, it's probably not. But basically, when people say it's been a minute, is this like the literal 60 seconds, or is this the millennial hipster speak of sarcastic? It's been 20 years, and I'm going to say it's been a minute.
brother, I'm gonna
I've
say you
seen
gotta
people get
take, brother,
confused by
you gotta
that.
take the reins. I gotta take this call. Take the reins for a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Folks, it's Mike Messier. Thanks to Stephen E. Now, Stephen, you did say on one of the comments, you still have my email to respond to. You take your time, no rush. I wasn't sure if that was meant for me or for Tom, Stephen E. I did check my emails while I was looking at that, and I did not see an email from you, but I did get your Facebook message a while ago, and I responded to that. For me, folks, I'm here in sunny Florida. Like I said, I'm going to be working on this. It's called Many Keys. It's a one-actress monologue. I did my casting this past week.
Last time I saw him drink,
I think we still hear Tommy. Tommy, you're still in the background, buddy. You got to take your earpiece out. So everything is good. I did see a film last night that I had seen before. The film is Just Mercy with Michael B. Jordan playing a lawyer, a civil rights lawyer who was part of the Equal Justice Initiative in the early 80s, I believe. And very powerful movie. It was a re-release. I think the movie came out about a year ago, but I think it was kind of a week of June 19th that he was on. I'm going to message Tom. We're hearing him. We're still hearing him. Take out your headphones, Tommy. So now we hear the ghost of. Yeah, it was a good movie. Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Stephen E. I don't know if you guys can hear. I guess I'm echoing here. All right, folks. Let me see. Kim liked that movie a lot too. Let's see what else is going on. I'm just laughing because I'm hearing my own echo here. I'm just hearing myself. Okay, folks. So this has been a lot of fun. I might just wrap things up here. I'm echoing. I'm running this. I'm trying, man. Let's see. Well, I do appreciate you buying my book. You know, Kim has bought a couple of my books. I'm also, if you guys are on Facebook, Mikey's Store of Stuff. I've got my Facebook group, Mikey's Store of Stuff, AvaloniaFestival.com. Tommy, I think you got to. I think he's gone. Ah, boy. I'm going to get your whole family. I'm going to kill everyone. Yeah, boy. All right. Okay, folks. Well, I think I'm going to pull this up. I think we're going to be tough here. All right. Well, folks, thanks very much for tuning in. This has been Mike Messier and Tommy Nanucci, and Action Podcast. We're going to get going.
the end of our program. As you can see, this week is for time-wise call from a producer. And I've got to run to, but I difficulties stumble.